Hi, this is Fran with Stampendous, and I did a first video featuring how that WindowRama creates a beautiful card that will fold flat and go into an envelope, an A2 envelope. And now I want to show some additional very fun other things that work so well with it. So here we have the Meadows Edgers. This is a cutting dies set with 7 pieces that's going to give you some beautiful landscape things that you can do. And it was designed to work with a clear stamp set that's also the Meadow, and you have all of the clear stamps to work with. And it all works together, but you can have a lot of choices for what you want to do with it. Here I'm using the Meadows Edger cutting dies primarily with just different colors of paper. And you can see that it can be very quick and easy way if all you had was the die set to use your papers or even printed papers to create a beautiful scene, and then your little characters that you can add to it certainly bring it together in a really fun way. And here's one where I used the pieces using the WindowRama to create a very fun little viewing scene here. And so here we have using the dies. Sometimes just the chalk is going to be a nice way to get a soft little bit of color, like I did on the clouds, and I used this simplest die for the little hillside. And then this die, let me pull one off over here. This one is a little grass stamp, and it actually works upside down or right side up, and you have another one that will cut the curve going one of the directions there. And I found, let me show you here, from the back it cuts all of these little lines, which may be kind of hard to see, but I found that if I inked it up with some of my green ink pads, then when I pressed it through, it gave me a very pronounced, very fun look to it. And this one was also designed so that after you cut, cut first with this die, then the second die comes back and line it up to where it comes just inside the lines. And when you run that through, it will actually give you a fringed edge. If you cut a little bit closer on here, all of those little cuts would give you a fringed edge with the grass. This piece I inked as well, and it captured ink in some other areas, but I thought I quite liked it after all, and I did cut this one. And you can see I used a little bit to add a little bit of some lighter green to it, and I quite like the stylized look of that. So that gives you a lot of ideas just using your different colors of paper. Now let's add our clear Meadows Edge stamp set and see what more we can do with it. Here I stamped a message and some of the little hillside designs onto some green paper, and then I used the dies to cut the edge to make a really fun little WindowRama little view there. And then here, just working flat with all of the different pieces, I stamped and did some more color work and used the dies to create all of the edges. And I'm working off of the round corner square that comes in the WindowRama set to make a very fun, simple way to kind of stack your different layers. Here you can see we used all of the layers and created a whole three-dimensional set of layers. So here I'll show you. I've got the cloud piece, and I thought I could add actually several pieces. They all fit on our big R-size block. And whether you want to do some stamping onto circle shape, I used Memento so that I could do some Copic color marker work. But this way I could pretty much stamp a whole cluster of things and then come back with the small flowers, the rainbow, and add the other elements. And with your round corner square, that might give you a confined area that would make it easy to do your marker work. And this should be dry, so let's add just a little bit of color. And again, work with the white. You really don't need to totally color in such a big area. And let the brush strokes show and make it interesting. I've got all my blues and greens here. So anyway, keep it simple and light. Remember, the colors are going to fade away in the distance. And you can create a horizontal view and link them together side to side to create a longer or a different focal area of images in the middle. Here I took what I had on the block and I inked it with multiple colors. And then I might come back in and add some color pencil work to it. Remember, your dies may be helpful to cut some masks as well, and that might allow you to do some specialty things with covering up one area to mask it while you stamp or color a different area. But here I want to show you, if you really want to do some very fun, elaborate things, let me show you by opening this one up how the pieces come together. So the key to making all of these different inside layers is using the WindowRama's base piece. And this is the reason that it has all of these score lines. And so if, as you begin to work with your different colors of paper that you select, let me show you here. If you first use this large piece to cut out a panel, then it is going to give you the dimensions and even the score lines that you need. And it is going to be wide enough to cover, to go through all of the image area, and you may have to just snip away a little bit on the side. But what you can't see until I fold it is that using those score lines, everything first gets scored or gets folded in that first fold, and that determines the width of the card. And I would do the same with the green, and I could decide to cut away, if I want this high, then the next one I can cut lower and lower and plan it out, but it all starts from this dimension, so it will fit together. Move some things out of the way here. And then the key is your back layer, so everything got folded at that inside measurement. So if you want a layer that is that's the furthest one back, then you will simply, I'm just going to cut it here. It's not going to show, but I'm cutting off along a score line that gives me 3 little bars, okay? Your next layer, if you want it to sit in the middle, you cut it away, leaving 2 bars, I'll say it that way, and the one in front has only 1 bar. So now, And you can see here, I've got them all secured to this side. And this one is to the back, and then this one in the middle, and this one to the front. So all of them get glued up to that edge, and then they sit in the right distances apart. And then on this side, the same way. This is going to pull them into position. And I found that the best trick was to have all of the panels come down to the bottom edge here, and then by cutting away the different thicknesses, get one side glued, and then get glue on the backs of each of these little fold over sections and press them all at the same time, so that you have made sure that they all got lined up exactly flat. So when you press it down, you'll know that it goes perfectly flat to go in your envelope. And then when you go to glue the last outside one, get glue on this panel and push it flat so that when you glue it, you know it's going to be in the right spot. And sometimes that may be a little bit up from that edge, but you'll want to make sure that you've positioned it to go perfectly flat. So those are some tips that make what looks very elaborate come together very simply, because all the measuring is done basically with the die itself and a little bit of cutting away of something. So the combination of the WindowRama cutting dies, the Meadows Edgers cutting dies, and the Meadows Edge clear stamp set will make you look like a genius, whether you want to do flat cards or WindowRama 3D cards.